Hello, everyone. We are the Generalists, and welcome to the first episode of General Thoughts, where we give our thoughts and opinions on the latest movies, TV shows, and video games. A quick disclaimer before we start: anything you see in this video are our thoughts and opinions, so take that with a grain of salt. Now, without further ado, let us start this episode.
So, in this episode, we'll be reviewing the movie The Joker 2019, directed by Todd Phillips, with an all-star cast including Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, and Zazie Beetz. This movie was released on 31st August 2019, and it had a budget of $62.5 million and an amazing box office of 1.074 billion US dollars, which made The Joker the first R-rated movie in history to earn over $1 billion in global box office. So Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a 68% in ratings, and it got 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
So this movie is about an aspiring comedian, Arthur Fleck, who spirals down into madness. So what are your general thoughts?
Okay, so first, when I watched this movie, at first it was really nice. Like, I loved it. In general, I really liked the movie because I'm a fan of DC Comics, and this actually was like one of the best DC movies so far in the history of DC. And after many years of medium and low movies, I think this was one of their best.
Pretty good quality, if I do say so.
Yeah, and to be honest, I personally didn't like Aquaman.
Yeah.
So this was the best DC movie I've seen in years, since the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
The Dark Knight series.
Yeah.
Really good.
I think it was a great movie, but I think it was a bit too dark, maybe.
Okay.
I thought it was too dark because it kind of played with your mind, and it was darker than I expected it. I expected something more fun. I don't know, like Suicide Squad fun.
Yeah, the direction they were going was very. I know all of us here are comic book fans, right?
Yeah.
So the direction they went with this version of the Joker was very Bronze Age.
Yeah.
I thought that it was, of course, it was R-rated, so I knew it was going to be more of the dark side. But I was also expecting moments like more comedic moments, like Joker from Batman the Animated Series, something of like that combined with Joker from Batman the Killing Joke. Of course, this movie sided more towards the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
Showing.
Yeah,
I think this was the first movie or like first kind of medium related to the Joker where they show a proper backstory, not just like bits and pieces and we
Yeah,
all
Yeah,
put something
definitely.
up.
Yeah, it's one like most of the other stories that show his backstory are usually animated movies, and I believe anyway.
They don't contain it this much, I think.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
disagree. Yeah.
It's definitely bits and pieces, and
Yeah.
it's always presented to the audience in a way that you're not sure if this is its actual origins.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of did that in this movie as well towards the end.
Yeah, because they reveal in the movie, as we said, the spoilers.
Yeah.
They did reveal in the movie that a lot of the movie was actually his imagination,
Right.
especially that
Yeah.
relationship with the actress Zazie Beetz in the
Exactly.
movie.
The thing was that they said that this version of the Joker was a new version they have made. So, as I read this before, I didn't just expect what I read in the comics or the Joker in the Dark Knight. I mean, that Joker, like Heath Ledger's Joker was
Legendary.
Yeah, exactly.
Iconic portrayal of the Joker.
I would still keep that in the first place for me, but I think this was the second Joker, the best, the
Live
second best
action Joker.
Joker. Yeah.
I actually somewhat disagree there because as for this movie, like you said earlier, it was dark and you didn't like that part that much, like you weren't expecting it. Since they said that one of their big influences was The Killing Joke, I knew kind of straight away that it was going to be a darker telling of the story. But one thing I really liked, I did actually like the dark aspect of it because it's not like those typical superhero movies where like there's this big superhero and it's all lighthearted and cheery by the end of the movie with the guy saving the day. Like, this movie was a lot more dark and grounded, and it's a big focus on the psychological dark aspects as well, especially of Arthur Fleck's descent Fleck's descent into madness. I really enjoyed just watching it as I watched him, just descend. I really enjoyed it.
I think I don't think I'm the only one who thinks this. I think you guys will agree as well that it showed a very realistic approach to mental illness
Definitely.
and how
Yeah.
a person can be consumed by it through the circumstances that they face
Yeah,
in
for
a day.
sure.
Very heavy meaning,
Mm.
not like something to watch with a
You know,
light heart. Definitely.
One of the things that I realized in the movie is that so we know that the Joker basically is like a chaotic, evil character,
Yes.
Right.
and so basically no one expects Joker to be the good character, right? But I think it had a side of the story where Joker, like Arthur Fleck, was the good character in this movie.
Yeah, you sympathized with them.
Yeah, because well, what I got from the movie was that the basically like the Wayne family wasn't like controlling the city well, or like the people didn't have the fair life they should have.
Right.
So the riots that were caused because of the Joker were basically kind of like protests against this
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
So
Because-
in this movie, I didn't see Joker as the villain. Maybe an
An anti-hero.
an
Yeah.
anti-hero. Maybe
Yeah, definitely. Because of course you think the Wayne family, you think Bruce Wayne, you think Batman, you think a good guy.
Yeah.
But in this movie, the stuff that happens to Arthur and the way he's portrayed, you sympathize with the guy. You definitely want to take his side more than the Wayne's.
Yeah. And especially with that as well, I believe a big part of that is the fact that we saw everything. We saw his struggling life. Then we saw everything stripped away from him, of like what he valued. And then we saw him just slowly descend, and everything just got worse and worse until it all just went in the can, and it all just.
and we got to see his relations not with Harley, like
Right.
his feelings about other people
Yes.
and his mother.
Mhm.
The fact that the mother thought that Arthur was the son of Arthur Wayne.
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. So this was also a new thing, which I didn't expect and I've never seen
Yeah.
before.
But I feel like it was kind of good dynamic. Like the way they built it up was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I don't know about you guys, but before the movie came out, I read a lot about people's reactions or like people's thoughts, and one thing a lot of people loved about the Joker was the fact that he didn't have a proper origin story. It was always shrouded in mystery,
Exactly.
and I feel like that's what people's main gripe with the movie was, that I don't think they necessarily wanted an origin story for the Joker. And while we did get an origin story, that twist at the end really gave us what the comics gave us of like, we don't know what parts were real and we don't know what parts were fake, because Arthur was telling the story himself. And of course, some parts he was exaggerating, some parts he was making up.
Mhm.
So again, there's that mystery you find there, which is
Yeah.
great. I at first I wasn't too sure of that ending. I kind of didn't like it. But the more I saw it again, the more I was like, nah, you know what, that was a pretty smart decision.
One of the things was that this movie was R-rated, and it wasn't. I didn't hear this about this until like it was like really close to the release date. So, like it was announced. I think it was announced pretty late, but I don't know if it was announced before too.
What, Joker's age rating?
Yeah, it was announced before, I believe.
I think it was announced pretty early on in development that it would be an R-rated story.
And that was not good.
The thing is that when I realized, and after I watched it, I expected like maybe like more 18+ things.
See, the thing is
I
that
think it could have had like a maybe PG-16.
no,
I think-
disagree with that.
I think the thing is, when people think superhero movies and R-rated,
Yeah.
Deadpool immediately comes to mind.
Yeah.
Swearing, lots of blood, lots of
Exactly.
cutting up people,
Exactly.
right? But then Joker's R rating wasn't because of that stuff. Of course, there's swearing and stuff,
Exactly.
but it was more the psychological themes
Yeah,
that were
exactly.
within the movie.
And the
I know that,
violence.
yeah, and I know for some people that was a bit too much to handle, and they had to
Yes.
leave the theater before finishing the movie.
That's
Which
definitely one of
for
the
me
reasons it came out.
also, the second I was rewatching it and I couldn't kind of finish the movie the
I
second
get what
time.
you mean.
Like, okay, it was a great movie as a movie. Like, the production of the movie was great.
Phenomenal.
Like,
It was
amazing.
amazing.
But what I personally didn't like about the movie was that it was much darker than what I expected. So I think it could have been lighter, maybe.
I think we were all expecting elements of darkness, but not
Yeah.
as dark as this movie went. This was definitely a whole new level, and like definitely like very hard because I don't think any of us really suffer from any kind of mental illness.
No.
And this was, it gave a whole new perspective to me at least, and that's like, I don't know how people go through that.
I actually enjoyed the movie because of seeing that mental illness side and being able to not only see it but be able to sympathize and kind of humanize with him in the way that he's really suffering these mental illnesses and these issues, and how society is basically throwing him out and disregarding him. And he even mentions that directly in the movie as well when he does, big spoiler, kill Robert De Niro's character on the live night show. That's a very big important part, as he's directly talking to the society, saying that it's all rigged and it's unfair for everyone.
That's kind of the turning point of the movie.
Exactly.
He puts on the makeup, he puts on the suit, he embodies the persona.
Yeah.
And killing Robert De Niro's character was just a
Pinnacle.
Yeah. And it was really well done.
Couldn't agree.
I guess this can give like a proper decision on the movie, like these thoughts. Would you suggest someone, like a friend who hasn't seen this movie, to watch it or not?
I think definitely, because it's a movie that you don't have to be a comic book fan to enjoy, but having that comic knowledge definitely enhanced the experience.
Yeah.
If I were to give it a rating out of 5, I would probably give it around a 4.5.
Okay. What about you, Adam?
Me personally, look, if you are sensitive to these kind of topics, I'd suggest being a bit cautious when you watch it, because you
Of
may
course.
get offended.
I mean, if you're watching this video, you've probably watched the movie, because if you haven't, we just spoiled it for you.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
But yeah, if you think if you still want to watch it, which I do recommend it, it's definitely a must watch, and I'd also give it probably a 4.5 or a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it.
I personally think it was a great movie in production, and because of the dark side, which I didn't expect and I didn't like, because it was a new side of DC which I had seen, I would rather give like a 4.2 max for it. But still, it was a great movie. Would you rewatch the movie?
I mean, I have rewatched the movie a couple of times, but it gets very difficult because of the themes it tackles. So I feel like you should, a very big warning on that, if you're very sensitive to these kind of things, maybe have someone close by to watch it with, or just go into it with that mind.
Yeah, I personally like even tried to, and I couldn't rewatch it. Like, I watched the whole thing in the theater. We watched it together actually. But after like the second time I was watching it, I couldn't really, like, I don't think it's a movie that I would rewatch basically.
Well, of course, these are our general thoughts and opinions. This is what we think. Tell us what you think.
And just to let you know, we are nothing close to professionals
Exactly.
or amateurs. We're literally just talking about our
I mean,
opinions
we're general,
here.
we're average. We're the
This is
general.
all
Yeah.
out of our butts here.
And you can just literally like see it in the title of the channel. So I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, and hope to see you in the second episode, hopefully next week.
Yeah, tell us your thoughts and opinions. Sound off in the comments down below.
And make sure you subscribe so you won't miss any of the videos. And see you soon.
Catch you in the next one.